This podcast was produced on the land of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation.
Welcome to Australia.
Aussie, Aussie, Aussie.
This is kind of tragic.
Someone who is such a connoisseur of reality television.
The content is hideous.
So sorry about this. Oh my God.
This is The Cringe is Real, a reality TV recap podcast that probes the notion of the Australian culture cringe. I'm Sam Cremian, and imagine having to go to a barbecue with me and Annabel. To join me this week to discuss week 5 of Australian Survivor Titans vs Rebels, it's the one and only Queen Annabel Fidler from the Traitors Australia. Annabel is iconic both for her bold looks and moves on the Traitors Australia Season 2. If only those dummies listened to her, we would have had a very different ending. Australian Survivor Titans vs Rebels airs on 10 and 10 Play every Sunday to Tuesday, and I'll be recapping it each week with a special guest. Annabel Fidler, welcome to The Cringe is Real.
Oh my God, Sam! I am so excited to be here. I am the most cringe. I feel like this is a perfect fit.
What was your line? It was like, I am actually this toxic in real life.
Yes.
You are actually this cringe in real life.
Literally, I know one of the biggest things from being on the Traitors was having everyone who didn't know me be like, there's no way she's actually like that.
Yeah.
And everybody I know, like co-workers included, being, oh my God, I can't believe how you and authentically yourself you were. It was just...
That is fantastic.
It was too much.
Can confirm toxicity.
Absolutely.
So what's got you cringing this week?
Okay, so I mean, it has me cringing in a big way, but it's also serving as a public health and safety announcement. If you don't want to know about my sex life, skip forward a couple of minutes. Obviously, Sam, you can't, so strap in. So I've kind of been in this self-imposed celibacy since last June, because you can honestly only make this many bad choices, Sam, before you're like, girl, something's got to give. That said, there are certain hormonal moments when I find myself slipping, struggling with quitting.
There are needs.
So
there are needs that need to be met. I understand.
Absolutely. I have needs. So I have the apps on my phone. I'm just almost always deactivated. But I found that particularly before and after having a Maz is when I'm, you've been there. It's when I'm at the most vulnerable to swiping. And I've just got to tell you, the decisions you make when you are in that headspace are not okay.
It's all good.
So not okay. I'll come to, the next day and be like, really, Annabelle, a 50-year-old conservative Catholic? Is that what we're doing? Like, this is how we ended up here in our celibacy era, girl. So
on those apps, like, the less I know about you, the better. Do you know what I mean? Like, on these new apps, they ask you to like put all your political opinions on. I'm like, no. I just want the pics, and that's it. And please don't speak.
Absolutely. So no, do not swipe when you are in that vulnerable headspace, people. You are not going to make smart, safe decisions.
Yes, And in this humid weather that we're experiencing at the moment, it's, I'm getting a little hot and heavy. So
I'm getting
it's a
a
good
little
reminder.
hot and heavy.
Thank you. Maintain standards.
It's okay. Wait at least, it's like eating. You need to wait at least an hour after masturbating before you think about getting wet, okay?
It's like when you're a kid and it's like, oh, you've just eaten, you can't get in the pool. Or, remember that stupid rule someone made up about eating and getting in the pool? I'm like, who made that up?
I don't know.
Now we have to talk about the Traitors US Season 2. I know you've got lots of feelings, particularly about Peter's party pals. How are you feeling about last week's ep?
Okay, so Phil and I normally podcast about the Traitors USA at the moment, and I just said to Phil this week, I was like, should we just skip it? Should we just skip this week and make next week a double?
Do you know what? Do it. It was
We're doing it.
a rubbish
What?
week. I mean, no, yeah, good.
Why are we
Clearly,
having
like Phaedra's
so
going, right?
many? Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no.
They're just
Peter's
milking
going.
it.
Peter's
It's rating
going.
so high. You reckon? Oh,
I
I
think
hope. I
Peter's
mean, I hope.
going.
I feel like it's Phaedra and that's why they're teasing it out. I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, like at this point, I don't care. Like if they had shown it in the episode, I'd have been so pumped up about it. But because they keep teasing
Oh.
us and leaving us unsatisfied, I mean, honestly, all we got, Sam, was a Kevin murder. A Kevin murder.
Look, it's a very different experience than the rest of the Traitors franchise, isn't it? Like it's not you're not watching it for the strategy. It's like I'm watching it like as a Housewives fan. I'm watching it more just for the silliness and the campery. And if you go in with that attitude, it's good. If you go in with like a Survivor mindset, I think you're going to be disappointed. You know?
I think so. And I think like the first half was good in that stuff happened. And I still love the
Yeah.
camp. I still love Phaedra's one-liners. I wish
Oh,
there was more fighting,
fantastic.
honestly. Not enough fighting. But like
Yeah.
you
And even with
you don't
Kate
watch
Chastain there, I thought she was gonna, fuck shit up, but she's been pretty quiet, really.
No, I feel like her whole I don't give a damn brand isn't conducive towards chaotic gameplay because that kind of involves being invested. And I was a guest on the Traders Feedback show on Rob Has a Podcast actually this week.
Yes, I
And
saw. How exciting!
I was getting reamed out by these housewife stans for it saying that they were trash at the game, which they are. I'm sorry, that's not a hot take. They
They
suck.
are, but they're making great TV. You can't
Exactly.
deny that. You know,
Absolutely. They're fun to watch, but like don't come at me
Yeah.
and tell me I'm a misogynist for saying Sheree is not an amazing competitive game player. She's not.
she's not
She's
even
just
there.
iconic.
She's not even present. Yeah, she's fantastic on her show. It's like, so as a Housewives fan and also a fan of like Survivor, this has been like a Venn diagram that I never thought I would grapple with, but I love watching the different fandoms go off against each other because I'm kind of one foot in both camps. I don't really care, but it's fun watching, like, all my Housewives podcasts are like, who is this Parvati? Who does she think she is? And I'm like, excuse me? And then everybody fell in love with Parvati eventually. I knew they would, which is great. But what a ride. It's like fan fiction.
I love watching them. Watching the fans fight has actually been juicier than watching the contestants fight. Like the Survivor fans coming at the Big Brother fans over Dan Giesling's hot mess at the start. I was living for
a
it.
train wreck. Anyway,
I've enjoyed the drama, and that's why I'm such a Peter's Party Pals apologist, because I think they are bringing the drama. Like, if Peter wasn't there to call a dick, who would they be fighting with?
Exactly. You're absolutely right. Let's get into Aussie Survivor. Enjoying the season so far?
Oh, like this is not a hot take at this point because everyone feels the same way. This season has been epic. It's been the perfect blend of hot mess, people who are fans of the show, but not necessarily of the game, who just want to make big moves and blow things up and make good TV, with game fans who want some good strategy, and then also these rogue elements like Kellys of the world who are just causing fireworks. Every episode's been epic.
Yeah, it's been really, really good. And I love a season as well where you're rooting for like different people week by week because your opinion changes so often. And it's, for me, I've been on its journey with some of the cast.
Yeah.
Who are you rooting for?
It's really, well, this is it. I was going to say it's really hard to decide
Yeah.
whose side I'm on because so many of them are rootable in all senses. So first of all, I'm a massive Eileen stan.
Yes.
I love her, obsessed with her, iconic. But I am also a huge Mark fan and a Mark apologist. And I just feel like if we get to the stage where, Mark or Eileen are blindsiding each other, I don't know what side I'm going to pick.
I know. He's had a few fumbles, but I still love him. Like, I love he's like trying, because my whole thing is I've had it with the Karens. I want Caroline and Kitty out of here. I like don't enjoy them on my screen. And he's the only one that can do it, right? But he hasn't been successful yet. And I'm just like waiting for someone to finally get those Karens and get that sweet, sweet Viola revenge that we need.
Oh, that would be so hot. I mean, I think that what I really appreciate about Mark is that, I don't necessarily enjoy watching someone play a perfect game. It's boring. What really impresses me is when someone can fumble or even drop the ball, still pick it up and score a goal. Like, how many times has this man completely missed the mark? A lot of sports analogies here for a queen who doesn't watch any sports.
I know.
But
I'm
anyway,
impressed.
like he comes back so strong, and everyone's convinced they have this secret special relationship with him. Even when he kind of does all of these things to prove there ain't no relationship there, they still buy it. It's actually incredible. He must be so charismatic, charming. I think that really calm energy where he's never flustered.
It's the first time we've actually had transferable skills play out well on this show. Like, I've said it before on this pod, but like, sometimes we have people and their whole storyline is like, as an airline pilot, I'm really good under pressure or whatever. And then it means nothing. But with him, it's like the way he speaks, particularly at the tribals and stuff, I'm like, this is diplomacy. Like, he's very careful with his words, and in a way that I would not be out there. Like, it's impressive and it's good to watch.
So, the self-restraint, the poise, I would put this man in charge of global nuclear policy. I trust him with my life. Even though I know he would backstab me, I'd still be like, have everything.
Oh my God. All right, let's get into this week. It's a big week to cover. Last week was Twist Week, and this week is like endorsements week. We've got the Set for Life challenge and the Isuzu challenge to get to.
It's my favorite. I love this shameless product placement. It was one of my favorite things about Survivor South Africa, where they would have like those random sort of gravy ads where, oh my God, yes, we won the special savory beverage. So
good. I'm still waiting for the KFC truck to rock up, but anyway, that's another story still to come. So we start, so episode 13, it's called Revenge is a Dish Best Served Russian. That gay intern at 10 is naming these episodes correctly. And it's a bit of a bum steer, because when I read that, I was like, oh, shit's going to go down with Valeria, blah, blah, blah. Does not eventuate, as we'll get to. But we start with everybody rejoicing that Hurricane Kelly has finally exited the island. So it's day 26 on the New Titans beach. And Kirby, I fucking love Kirby for this. She's like, I cannot believe she was a psychologist, because she was not a very good listener.
The entire last episode was an evisceration of Kelly, and then it continued after she was gone for a good 10 minutes into the next one. She made an impression.
Oh, yeah. Alex was elated that she was gone. Like, he looked, he had his whole personality shifted.
Bless Alex, because he's perpetually wrong. The only real kind of personality trait that we've seen him have on the show is hating Kelly. We think Alex, we think
Pink Speedos.
Being wrong. Pink Speedos, being wrong, hating Kelly. It's all we've been given to go off. Arc. And now a core part of his personality is gone.
So good. Valeria asks Mark who orchestrated the viola vote, and Alex tells her it's Caroline. And this is when we get the Valeria can't wait to reunite with Mark and take her out, dun, 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 setting us up for the merge. And then it's merge straight away. Not here to fuck spiders, JLP. Let's do it. But first, Alex tells everyone that he's got an idol, and he whips it out. He's very pleased with himself. Still doesn't know that he was strangely handed it by Ferris in that awkward search last week. Oh my God.
I thought it was a good move to publicly declare he had it because he knew it was going to leak anyway with his whole tribe knowing about it. Get on the front foot, honey. Get on
PR
the front
strategy.
foot.
Yeah, get on the front foot, exactly. Eden tells us that he's dateable now because he's made merge. Cute.
Love that for him. I mean, he's got multiple children, I believe, so you'd hope so.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
How old
he's
is
a
Eden? Like,
dad.
I feel like he could be like, I don't know, 35 or like 45. I have no idea.
Okay,
Sorry.
I'm pretty sure his elimination episode was his 40th birthday.
No way.
Yeah, so here's the tea. I'm pretty sure that the day he was
Poor baby.
eliminated, actually in real time, was his kid's first birthday. And then in real time, the show aired
on
his
40th.
elimination on his birthday. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I know. What a kick in the
There
dick.
you go. Valeria reckons her and Mark are the new power couple and that a war is about to start. So they're really, they're getting the juices going. And I'm just sitting at home being like, yes, Valeria.
It's a very tough war, isn't it? It's like a little bit like the Valeria versus the Karens of it all. I'm trying to think of a real world analogy. It's like two baddies going at each other. And I'm like, honestly, I'm rooting for you both to fail.
Oh, totally. I mean, as much as I like want to stand Valeria, sometimes she comes out with some stuff and I'm like, oh girl, no. Like,
So
what is this?
Really triggers me. I literally broke up with my ex because their mom was this super toxic Eastern European with exactly the same accent as Valeria. And then there was the sister-in-law who looked identical to Valeria. And they were both so awful. I was like, love you, honey, but I can't spend another day around your toxic family, which is Valeria condensed into one person. And so I'm like, I'm so sorry, babe. I can't get on board with you. I can't.
Yeah. Well, it's a good episode for Valeria because next we have the reward challenge. They've got to balance a little ball on a bow thing. And the prize is Set for Life, 5K on replay, 60K in total. And
I love
a good night's sleep at camp.
That's got to be the reward to win, right? I mean, that's that's the only, other than winning, that's the only enormous cash prize.
Totally good. Also, so how do we feel about the safety without power, though, that comes with it as well? I mean, obviously it didn't matter in this particular instance, but I'd be pretty pissed with that. Like, first merge vote and you can't participate. I don't know. Thought it was a weird timing for them to chuck that one in.
It was weird time. Okay. So I thought what was weird was the way it was kind of glossed over by JLP, because I think that it was supposed to have the effect where people were really tossing, what's more important? Me being a vote for my alliance, sticking with them, and being a team player, or being selfish and going for the enormous cash prize. But I think the reward was disproportionate to the loss of a vote, right? Like if you have a choice between voting or 60K, I'm picking 60K.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
So it's just a lower stakes reward. And then I also think that he didn't really give time for it to sink in what that choice was really about. So I felt like I didn't hate it as an idea, but I felt like the delivery kind of flopped.
Maybe it could have been a choice. Like you can vote or you can have 60K, kind of like that first episode of Traitors New Zealand where they were like, oh, if someone wants that cash over there, but you got to leave the show. And then that bloke just takes it and they're like, bye. See ya.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for coming. So good. So it's a showdown between Scott and Valeria, but Valeria wins. The sleeping bear has awoken. And I'm glad she did because she looked great in that robe, and she really camped it up on the beach.
Honestly, if anyone was going to really like make the most of a reward where you got to shower, wash your hair, and saunter around in a robe, you
Yeah.
just know it was Valeria. I loved her whole little shtick where she was pretending to be a priest taking confessional as well. It's like, I've got to confess, I'm voting for Kitty or whatever. I'm also voting for Kitty. God loves
And
that.
she picks up the lamp and she's like, excuse me, set for life. I would like a cappuccino, please. I was like, oh, honey, this is cute. They're all watching from the shelter like, okay.
So good.
Oh, okay. So back at camp, Scott tells us that he's using empathy as his sort of strategy in the game, or like thereof. And Caroline and Kitty start to intensely pressure Jaden to stay with them. So this is, for me, my big issue with them is like they're just so like mumsy and like intense. The way they talk to people, it's like they're telling all the kids off all the time. And for me, that's like such a trigger. Like if someone spoke to me like that, I would not do anything they said. But it seems to be working with everyone.
I don't know if it seems to have worked with Ree, but Ree was
Yeah,
in a very specific scenario for a while where she was on the bottom, alienated, and had no one except for
yeah. She was
Alex,
hanging
which,
out with
like,
those bloody Byron Bays. Yeah.
literally. So I think being tucked under the wing of the overbearing mothers was probably like a relatively safer place to be. But I've got the impression that everyone else is rubbed the wrong way by it. I mean, if you think back to original Titans, before this all went down, if you remember, because Viola and Valeria were really off put by them following them around everywhere, like smothering them with their motherness. So, and then, they feed Jaden this false vote at the previous tribal and are now coming in and pressuring him to stay on side. It doesn't shock me that there's a lot of people feeling quite passionate about getting them out, and that we end this week with them having no allies except each other.
Yeah, which I love. Ferris and Mark have a little strat chat. Mark is happy that he's made the merge because now he's got some new people to work with. It was kind of slim pickings before. Winner, Valeria, and Mark reunite, and Mark tells them his side of the story with the Viola blind side. And they begin to hatch their plan to take out Kitty or Caroline. And then it cuts to Caroline doing like an evil cackle, like a which I was like, oh. I'm convinced she's actually lovely. Yeah. So,
I think her moves make a lot of sense. Like strategically, I'm on board with her.
Totally.
But there's
she's playing very well.
Exactly. There's a lot of editing that is making her look Karen-esque, where she is high maintenance, and it's the shots, it's the camera shots of her looking like a Skeletor evil supervillain, which is just with the way they've done the lighting. It's not just me. No, it's
next it'll
so
be like
shady.
Cackles and like lightning every time she appears. Mark's like, Russians love revenge, so Valeria's totally into this plan, which I was like, okay. And Valeria has a comfy night's sleep in her bed. Then we have the immunity challenge with a rested and recharged Valeria, who doesn't even need to worry about this one. Scott tells JLP the tribe is called Tussie, which means one in Samoan. And this is the first time I was like, oh, Scott has like an English accent. I didn't pick that up before. But he was like, it means one. He was like, JLP, Tussie means one. And I was like, oh.
It comes out very occasionally. It's a bit like me, where normally he just sounds Australian, and then every now and then something comes out and I'm like, oh, you have one of those mothers as well. Where she's, he's originally from Northern England or Scotland or like Wales or something. And
it was hot. Scott is a very attractive human. But
I'm into Scott. I love Scott.
Big Scott fan here. They hand back the tribal immunity idol, and someone's like, see you later, oversized cup. And they traded in for a very sexy and not at all feminine necklace, which we'll get to later.
Oh, eye roll, honestly. Like, imagine being emasculated by a chunky
It's
steel,
I can't.
like, it's giving
It's
tiny
fucked.
penis.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. So it's it's a grueling endurance leg press thingy, and Raymond's like, "Fuck this. I'm not winning this one." JLB.
Mood.
He's been
He's
funny
baby
this
girl.
week. He is baby
Raymond's
girl.
baby girl.
Raymond's
Yeah,
baby
he's
girl, I
baby
reckon.
girl. Mm.
Mark wobbles and tells JLP to shut up. I liked that bit. Like, JLP's like, "Oh, Mark's wobbling." And he's like, "Shut the fuck up, you stupid, beautiful man."
I know. The way Mark's face, I was like, that's my face just before I swipe on the apps. I'm telling you.
Oh, yeah. So Jaden, Alex, and Winner are kind of the final three. Alex drops out. Thank you, editors, for lots of prolonged shots of him tensing in those tiny Speedos. And then this is so fucked. So I actually like, so I was tweeting along with this episode and I was like, hang on. I had to ask the room, like, did Jaden just throw immunity so that he didn't have to wear a girly necklace? Is that what happened?
Like, this is the thing that really annoys. Okay, is this? Can I have the floor for 5 minutes to go
please.
off about Jaden? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm so done with him. I am so done with this man. So he has spent the last 4 weeks making his entire shtick. I don't care. Like, this isn't even just editing. He is leaning into, I don't care. I'm here for the ride. I'm here for the vibes. Lol, I'm probably ready to drop out of this challenge, but I don't want to look weak. So I'm going to be like, Gags, it's a girly necklace. Here you go, friend. Oh, Gags, I'm just going to vote this way. Okay, right? So this is his vibe. Then a woman who, long history of reporting on this show, makes a joke, an amusing joke, about how you couldn't explain a lengthy voting strategy to him because he's just vibes. He doesn't care. He'd probably be like, "Ooh, bro." So what does this dude do? He decides to use Snapchat editor to wonkily shove her face onto a fat man lying on a sofa and have his thousands of followers bully her appearance online. Okay? Pathetic. It's not cute. It's not cute. It is crybaby wee-wee pants. And I'm like, okay, so this means that he doesn't think the shtick's funny. He doesn't think his own shtick's funny. So the only redeeming quality in this man on this show was that we could laugh at the shtick. And I love a little bit of a performance.
It was cute at the start. I thought he was going to lean into it, but you're right. He's not self-deprecating, so it's like, okay, weird.
Okay, if you don't want me to laugh at your joke, which was the only fun thing about you, then I won't laugh at your joke. And in that case, you are wasting my time.
Oh, don't get me wrong. Like, I thought he was kind of funny up until now. And then as soon as he gendered the immunity necklace, I was like, fuck off. Like, I just don't care anymore. Like, why are you there? Clearly you just wanted to be on telly and you thought it'd be fun. I don't know. Like, yeah. And when he was in on that joke with us, it was really cute and endearing. But now we're seeing off and on screen kind of the true Jaden, and it's, unfortunately not great.
You just know Jaden uses the F slur, Sam, and that's enough for me.
Yep. Wouldn't be surprised.
You just know it. I just know it.
Even JLP was shocked by this. Like, this moment with the necklace. It cuts to JLP and he's like, hang on. Like, whoa.
Yeah, be less.
And then he bros him later, which I thought was quite funny. Anyway, back at camp.
Okay, back to reality.
Yeah. Eden is stoked. His OG Titan mates have the power. He thinks it's going to be smooth sailing, laughing to the end. That's where Eden's head's at. The weather starts to turn, both on the island and emotionally for a few of our players. And we see a few moments where Scott is getting quite emotional. I thought this was I feel like they didn't have enough footage, but with what they had, they were able to tell this story quite nicely and without spoiling it. So yep.
Can I just talk about that?
Please,
I
please.
really respect Channel 10 for this because
Me too.
I think, I think if this had been a Channel 7 show, they would have happily ripped into Scott.
Oh, they
But
would
I
have made like a
thought,
hissy fit. They would have been like, oh, the queer had a hissy fit.
literally,
Mm.
F slur, Jaden's
Oh.
shouting F slur in the background. And then, but I bet the mental health team was coaching him, checking in with him as this episode was coming up. And then you can tell that they've really tried to humanize him in this moment and show the journey of his mental health throughout this episode to get him to the point where he made that decision. And I thought that was really nice. And even though of course, you're going to get these unhinged losers on social media popping off, I felt like the sentiment around this self-imposed medical evacuation was a lot warmer than a lot of the ones we've seen. And I think that's thanks to the editing.
Absolutely. And from what I've seen, though, like he's really happy with the feedback he got from fans, and people have been, for the most part, really beautiful. So we love to see that. Good on you, everyone that reached out and showed your support. I certainly saw a lot of stuff live on Twitter during the episode that made me happy. It was like, there was like one or two people going, "Ooh, quitter." And then it was mostly people being like, power to him, like understands that mental health is more important than being on a TV show. And because Scott's got one of those like faces that just kind of like, you can tell he would be very good at hiding how he feels if he had to. But he's very like eloquent in speaking. So he was able to explain it all really well at Tribal. But throughout the episode, you have no idea what's going on in there because he's just kind of got this smiley, content, gorgeous little face. And you're like, oh, he's having a good time, blah, blah, blah. But I did love, though, getting back to my Karen bashing, that he's like, oh, Kitty has lovely energy. And, I'd hate to see her go. And I'm like, does she? Like, I'm yet to see that, but I'll take your word for it.
He seemed very smitten with her.
Yeah.
And clearly she did feel like a safe place to land for him. And I think perhaps it's because the two of them were very much, we're going to go tight and strong. So they weren't zooming in on him as a potential vote and smothering them with their strat chat, which seems to be where they're putting everybody else off. So they could just reel him in by being nice and gentle. And it was specifically Kitty, not Caroline. So that I thought that was interesting. And he clearly felt so strongly about it that he was willing to blow up the entire plan in order to save her.
Yeah. And Kitty's really shocked when she catches wind that her name is out there. There's some amazing shots of her really pissed off face. And because that's Scott's parting gift, isn't it? It's like, I'm going to blow the lid off their plan. Because is this the second time they've tried to gun for them now? I can't keep track. But yeah, I feel like there's been attempts at, this so-called revenge on these two. And yet another one, like no one can give Mark a break. Poor thing. Kitty grills Mark and Valeria to investigate, and they're so funny. They're just like, no, what are you talking about? I haven't heard your name.
I love the one with Valeria, and it's like overlaid with Kitty's confessional. She's a bold-faced liar.
And then Valeria's like, she's like, no, I didn't say that, but obviously somebody's leaking private information. I'm like, so you've just confirmed it by suggesting there's a leak. I thought that was so funny. She's like, who's the leak though? We need to find the leak. I'm like, oh my God.
Okay, I've got to give a shout out to Dylan Hedder, one of my very good friends, who is doing the absolute most every episode to try and claim that Valeria is not actually a massive B word. It's just that English is her second language.
Like,
And then
yes,
every episode, Valeria will come out and say something even worse. And I'm like, yes, King, try and defend that.
No, I love it because this week she puts her foot in it, and I did think that too. I'm like, there's some ESL happening here, but also she's just a bit sassy. This is my favorite scene of the week right now, where Valeria is talking with Caroline, and Caroline's, "Don't you take my jacket? Just stop! That's my jacket. I'll freeze to death in the middle of the night without that jacket." And then cut to her in confessional wearing the jacket, likening the tribe to Days of Our Lives. Oh, heaven.
This is where she moved from someone who I thought was just like a little bit extra to full Karen mode. Yeah, and I was like, okay, that was a shady inclusion in the edit, you know, because it didn't really further the storyline. They did that, and I was like, do you think she was out there every day sassing production, being demanding, and this was the little favor Channel 10 did to slip it in?
Oh, that could be true. And or that the tribal was shorter because they didn't vote. So like they had a bit more time up their sleeve. I don't know. I like to choose to believe that it was them trolling Karen.
They're trolling her. I mean, there's so many things fun. Like, I mean, that was not in, I mean, when you look at the secret scenes and things like that, it's fun, bonding moments, you know, to show something so explicitly negative about somebody. Like, it was great. That was a pointed attack, and I lived for it.
No context either. They just went straight into it. It was like, that's my jacket. Anyway, at Tribal, you know, they're all getting very good at just talking in circles now, which is like fun, but also like I prefer the juicy Tribals with the whispering and the confronting. But then Kitty gives us that. So they're all starting that. Kitty goes, what does she say? If I'm going to go out, I'm going to go out swinging. And then she tells us that she has 7 or 8 figure businesses, which I was like, honey, that's social suicide. What are you doing?
Okay, first of all, it's social suicide. Also, I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure like an 8-figure business is not that good of a business. Like businesses, you clearly don't own any real estate with that. Like
the whole thing was just bizarre. She was like, well, look, you know, she's basically like, I don't even need this. I'm going to go home to my, you know, yacht and mansion, and I don't need you guys. I was like, babe, you haven't been voted out yet. Save that for your exit speech. Anyway, and then Mark, because she's like eyeballing Mark, being like, whoever put my name out there, I know who it is, and I'm coming for you. And then Mark goes very diplomatically, he goes, yes, it is, it's definitely game on. Which I was like, nice response.
The way someone could be screaming and threatening in his face, and he's just so calm. Meanwhile, Eden gets like a whiff that something's not going his way, and it's immediately running around, headless chook, weeing his pants a little bit. Like, the contrast between the two of them is incredible. I love them both. I loved Eden too, but the contrast in that alliance was amazing.
Scott then tells us that he's too emotional at the moment for the game. He's not in the right headspace, and very beautifully describes how that feels. And they make a really nice decision to let him go in this lovely way. And it reminds me of like, there's a period of time in the US franchise where like Jeff made it really known like how much he hated the quiz. Do you remember this? I don't know if they still do this because I'm not really that following it that much anymore, but remember he used to be like they would grab the torch and they would like lie it down like it was a filthy diseased torch. Yeah. They'd be like, you don't get the honor and the privilege of leaving this game like everyone else. So I'm really glad we didn't do that, because come on, guys, like, not that serious. No. And I got really emotional. Look, I'm not like this on the same night as like on the project just before this episode. They were talking a lot about what's happened in Sydney recently, and that made me feel a bit emotional. And then this happening, I was like, oh my God, like I don't have any more like queer tears left to shed, but I did get a bit teary, especially when Alex started crying. I was like, oh. And Eden, I was like, that got me
It
in
was
the
beautiful,
feels.
and so much respect for Scott for putting his. I mean, he must have been in a very dark place to make that decision in that time. And I just felt like it was really brave of him to do what he needed to do for his own safety in that moment. And then I also thought it was really beautiful the way the rest of the players were so supportive of him as well. There was no, I mean, there probably was a little bit of begging him to stay from his allies, but
Yeah.
everyone was clearly really moved by it and loved him and wanted the best for him as well. So I am really proud of Channel 10 for how they handled this, and I'm fully supportive of Scott.
Amazing. Episode 14 is called A Line in the Sand, and we get some like night camera shots after Tribal.
Oh.
And this is so fucking funny, sorry. But this is
Oh.
Caroline being like, I can't sleep next to him. Him?
And Kitty's like, yeah, you can just come and sleep next to me. And she's like, but I can't sleep next to him. Can I sleep next to you? And she's like, yeah, it's fine. You can just come and
like,
sleep
yes,
next to me.
you
Can I
can.
come and sleep next to you, though?
Yeah, this was a lot. I was like,
I
okay.
love her. I
We're
love
doing
her.
And then she calls Mark an asshole. She's like, he's an asshole. And I was like, it's taking it a bit far. There's a lot of things that she gets very upset about other people doing and then just does right away.
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
playing the game.
I understand why she's upset, because it's A, the betrayal, but I'd say also B, the humiliation
Yeah.
of him having done this before and her fallen for his bullshit. And in that moment, feeling both betrayed by an ally and then deeply embarrassed about having got herself in this situation. So it was hilarious and I loved it, and it really leaned into the Karen edit, but also I would have thrown a major tantrum.
Totally. Kitty's also a bit sooky, but keen to get her head off the chopping block. So she's like being a bit more like agreeable to the group, which I'm like, yes, good game play. And she kind of moseys on over to Kirby to see what Kirby's up to, with a bit of a proposal. And I love this. We cut to Kirby going, this white lady does not understand personal space. She's like, she wants to talk this close. That was very funny.
On one hand, can we talk about Kirby for a second?
Please.
On one hand, I'm really high on Kirby because I think she has a lot of natural ability. I think people have this real instinct to want to be near her and trust her and work with her. But I would lump her in fan of the show, not fan of the game, because her strategic decisions have meant no one trusts her. So I've been watching the extended tribals where you can see their voting confessionals.
Did not know that existed.
And yeah, they're really cool. They're on Templay, and so many people say, I can't trust Kirby in their voting confessionals. Like, even when they're voting for somebody else, they're just like holding another name up and going, I can't trust Kirby.
Yeah.
So it's fascinating. I can't see her winning.
Here, like her zone of influence is like her. Like, she's kind of a Lone Ranger vibe, which, yeah, I've kind of got this weird, like, wide on for her because I'm like, that's boss. But, like, also you're going to need some friends at some point to make it all happen.
Yeah.
But I don't know, maybe the fluidity vibe is going to work. Like, who you never know how it's going to work. There's so many
She's one
parts.
of those people who I think if she'd played a couple of nerdy orgs or had more experience watching the show, she would be absolute gun and wipe the floor. Like, she might come back a second time round and just wipe the floor with everybody.
I would love to see it. Right, so immunity challenge. It's the hanging onto the little cat toy looking thing, where we get a lovely glimpse of the pink Speedos again. Thanking you. They've really listened to my feedback and they're just giving us visuals of Alex, but less confessional. So thank you. Good work.
Sometimes I'm just like, is it just my Twitter feed or is the entire Survivor audience gay? And then like edits like this make it, I'm like, no, really, the entire audience is gay. It's exclusively gay
So good. And then, unfortunately for Eileen, Rihanna beats her for the win. Which, yeah, I was a bit
Sad.
bummed because I do love seeing Eileen win the challenges. It makes me very
I
excited.
know. Love you, Eileen. I want to be more high on Ree. Like, I'm sure there's more to her. There's nothing about her that I dislike, but at the same time, I feel like we've not had enough Ree content where I feel so invested in her. I mean, it got to this point, this in the last episode where is it going to be Raymond? Is it going to be Eden? Is it going to be whoever else the other person was going to be? And I was like, I don't want any of them to go.
I'm with you. It's like from a viewer's perspective, it's like, yeah, you want the Rihannas to kind of go because they're not contributing a whole lot to the show. Yeah, she's obviously played her cards right till now, but yeah, I'm pretty indifferent on her.
I'm sure she's great
as well. Yeah. Back at camp, Kirby is planning to just sit back and watch the fireworks happen, which I think is a very good move at this point because there's beef over there, so just let that happen. They'll come to you with how they want you to go. So I thought that was a good move. Valeria reckons the odds are in their favor to take out Kitty, and she asks Rihanna to be on board. Kirby's like, I'll ask, leave that with me. Little do they know that Rihanna is already baby Karen in training. And they're in her ear. And she makes promises to Kitty and Caroline that she's with them. But I'm watching going, is this genuine? Like, I don't know, but I kind of think it is at this point anyway.
I do. I think it's funny because she's so flaky, and I think that's part of why
Yes.
I'm not super warm on Rhea, because she's so flaky. But from everything I've heard in the exit interviews, if they had gone to Tribal where Scott left, Kitty would have gone out.
Would have gone.
Like,
yeah.
Rihanna was going to vote,
Wow.
and I think what was I listening to? I can't remember where I heard this, but it was at that vote where, and she felt so sick about it and realized this isn't what I want, that by the next Tribal, it was kind of solidified. Oh yeah, okay, no, I actually do want to go and be a baby Karen.
Gotcha. Valeria tells us Kitty is being desperate, and it's very entertaining. I like this bit.
I live.
Yeah. And then she's like, do you know what? Like, let's change the plan and just go for Caroline. Which I was like, okay, I'm listening. Because, yeah, obviously Kitty must be a little bit more well-liked at camp if they're doing this.
So I get the impression that Caroline is the strategic mastermind and Kitty is the personality hire. And
100.
I liked so therefore they thought Kitty was the bigger threat because Caroline was off-putting. But I kind of loved the mean pettiness of being like, well, Kitty's already upset. So you know what would be iconic if we upset Caroline as well by sending her home?
Caroline turns to Ray, Eileen, and Ferris as a strong three. So I was like, finally, like, come on, guys, someone going to work with these guys? Because quiet week for that three who have kind of been spotlighted this way through the season. And Ferris is keen on a winner vote because he sees winner as a bit of a threat. And, there was all that sushi boy nonsense
drama. So yeah, this was interesting because I thought Caroline obviously was angling to get out, the person she wanted out, but I thought it was smart of her to throw out a few names there to give them the flexibility to vote out who they actually wanted out. And it was, listening to Winner's exit interview was great because I was so high on Winner, Sam. I could see him winning. Like, he was in with everybody. Yeah, like, he was in with everyone except for Ferris, Eileen, who he had, Raymond, but, baby girl, who had really pissed off. But everybody else loved him. And then it's where Scott blows up his spot and reveals that Winner was going to backstab Kitty and Caroline, that now all of a sudden they're fine to get rid of him as well. Ferris has beef, and this is his game blown up within the space of 24 hours.
Oh, absolutely. Something about Winner I just haven't connected with. And then the way he handled himself in that the messy tribal that was weird. And I was kind of, and then when I saw that, I was like, he's not gonna make it because he'll, yeah.
It gave me the major ick factor with those three, Winner, Valeria, Charles.
Yeah,
there's something about
that
people
was
who,
gross.
when you're in a power position and use that to like dunk on people on the bottom, that just it's ick.
Yeah, was not into that. So they get together with Eden and Eileen to further discuss this plan. Caroline tells us there's two fake plans also going on. So they've got Rihanna voting for Mark and Alex voting for Valeria. I was like, what are you doing with this? And also, why is everybody listening to you, Caroline? Like, I'm still scratching my head off that. I mean, this was messy.
That was weird to me because, and this is what I mean, where we get to the end of the week and all of a sudden they have no allies because
they ask everyone to do these things. Yeah.
And I kind of got it with Alex where, yeah, Alex is rogue and also you don't know where he stands. But Ree's kind of proven herself to be fairly loyal to them. And so to give both of them fake names, she alienates both of them. They alienate Jaden back before the merge by giving him a fake name. So now everyone, everyone left in the game, they've either deliberately blindsided or fed fake names. And who's left for them?
They're not thinking that next step ahead. It's like after you do the fake names, it's like, of course that person's going to be pissed. And they should have learnt that because they did it to Mark and he was like, excuse me, like you left me out of this plan.
Yeah.
And now he's gunning for them. So it's like, you're just turning everyone against you. But anyway, Kirby asks Rihanna if they can get Caroline out. And there's so much revenge going on. I'm like, oh, but it all feels quite emotional at this point. At Tribal, JLP asks Eden if a line will be drawn in the sand tonight. And Eden's like, well, baby, it's the first merge vote. And I feel like they've...
Mustache twirling.
I feel like they've been edging because of Scott leaving. And so it's like, it's like all this build up and tonight's the night they're finally going to...
Don't swipe when edging either, people.
Danger territory. And then they do actually, this is when they talk about speed dating. They're like, Eden's like, afternoon at camp's like speed dating, chatting to everyone. And Caroline's like, yeah, well, I think I've actually got a few matches. And I was like, what? And then JLP's like, Jaden, is someone going to get catfished tonight? And Jaden's like, yeah, I reckon someone's getting catfished. Winner makes a very ballsy statement here, reminiscent of that other tribal I'm talking about, where they just really laid it on thick. It's very confident. And in Winner's exit interview, he says he could competitively eat 25 humble pies after being so cocky at the tribal. So I stand his self-awareness at that point.
I get it. And as somebody who, like, I have dangerous levels of self-confidence and I'm always delusional and like the queen of being blindsided when I play these games with friends. And so him just being I got that. And then for him to, as you say, turn around and be like, yeah, they got me. It's me on my ego trip again. I enjoyed Winner. I'm sad he went. It was a shock. I really thought he was making it to the end.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I think he definitely was being pitched as a central character. Anyway, also at this tribal, Kirby sort of reveals that they've tricked Rihanna as well. That's kind of outed.
Yes.
Episode 15 was called Master and Apprentice. We start on day 30 at the Tussie Beach. And surprise, surprise, Caroline is having a Karen hissy fit. She wants to speak to the manager.
We love it.
And we get more of Jaden singing, which, it's getting cringier each time.
At the time I was, kind of into it. And now I hate it. Disgusting. Get it off my screen. Everything he does sucks.
Eden teaches Jaden how to play Survivor. He's trying to get Jaden riled up to rebuild the OG Titans. And at this point, I'm like, Eden, give it a rest. The OG Titans does not exist. Like, just let it go, babe.
Drop it. And I just look, I understand from his perspective where he gets along with everyone on Titans that he wants them to work together. But the reality is they're both so split that there is no such thing as Titans versus Rebels anymore. You know, you've got the Kirby, Rihanna, and then the other three, and then you've got Caroline, Kitty, Mark, Valeria, and then Eden sitting in the middle. And what would have been really best, I think, here is for him, like, he's got ins with both sides. Just pick one and watch, and then watch the Rebels come at each other. Like, there was no universe to me in which either of them were going to stick together. This was not, maybe it worked for Eden and it would have been the best play for Eden, but this was a shocking thing for Caroline and Kitty to go ahead with. They burnt the single last bridge that they had, and Eden put himself in the firing line unnecessarily.
He did. What are your thoughts on the car curse? Do you believe that if you win the car, you will not win the game?
Yeah, I mean, look, we've had this many, many times. The car curse has only been broken once internationally. I do believe in the car curse. And as I was watching this challenge, because I'm a Mark stan, on one hand, I'm like, no, Mark, don't win the car. But then he wanted the car so badly. I was like, yes, give Mark
he
the
cried.
car. Don't give
he was
Mark-
like, I've been driving this shit old car. I was like, this week's emotional. Yeah, it was very sweet.
That man can do anything. Watch Mark win the car and win the game. He can do anything.
Yeah, he will. This was so funny. So he has to pick people to go to the barbecue. And first he picks Kitty, which I was like, okay. And I love, we get some shots of Valeria looking like, okay. Then Valeria, so it's okay. And then he has to pick one more. And he picks Caroline. And we get a funny joke from Raymond who goes, imagine having to go to a barbecue with Caroline and Valeria. Did he make the right move?
I feel like he was in a tough position once he had picked Kitty, in that obviously if he got one more, he had to pick Valeria. If he now gets another choice, if he doesn't pick Caroline, she's back at camp 100% gunning for him, going off, like really pissed he's picked Kitty and not her. Karen tears all over
This
the
is
place.
their Karen power. Everyone knows that it's easier to just give them what they want or else they'll have to hear about it. Like, it's a strategy.
Literally, if you don't want her to go to the manager, you just have to give her that discount. But I mean, Eden's obviously upset, but I think he had to make that call. Who's going to do the most damage, Caroline or Eden? Well, at least I trust Eden to make a more rational play.
Yeah. I would chuck an absolute hissy if someone didn't pick me to go on a fun, like if it was like a spa day or something with like food, I'd be so devo. No one would hear
literally.
the end of it.
I can get so Karen that I make Caroline look like a kitty. You know, like I can go off,
and that's why everything I'm saying about her is all with love. So Mark uses his diplomatic skills at the barbecue because it's pretty awkward, but he facilitates a bit of an open conversation. Valeria gets the talking stick and she's like, Caroline, you're just very emotional. You're a very emotional woman and you're a very emotional player. And Caroline's like, well, I didn't appreciate you calling me weak last week. And Valeria, in her strange way, apologizes. It's one of those like, I'm sorry if you felt that I had a problem with you.
This triggered me so much, and this is me like putting my own bullshit onto the players, but I was like, I know in her head what Valeria wants to say is, well, I'm sorry, but this is just the way that I am.
I wish she
I'm not
did.
going to apologize for the fact I'm blunt. And I was so triggered in this spot. And then like both of them, and then Caroline in the secret scene is like swearing about Valeria and how much she hates her. And just the pair of them, I was having secondhand
Yeah,
cringe.
yeah.
Imagining myself in Kitty's spot, because obviously Mark lives for the drama. Why is he constantly getting in the middle of it if he doesn't? But you couldn't pay me enough to be at that lunch.
It was good. This lunch and the like feast they had last week were both very
Oh,
housewives energy.
very
With with
housewives.
Callie just
Very
going over
housewives.
to get all the goss. Back at camp at night, we get a rocky montage of Jaden preparing in the gym to get winner's revenge. And like, I'm sorry, I don't buy. I can see the producers are like revving him up, trying to get us to believe that he's going to start playing the game now, but I don't buy it.
No, I mean, he did his version of playing the game, which is just doing a gag, which apparently I'm not allowed to laugh at the gag, so I don't know how you really want me to take that.
Yeah. At the immunity challenge, there are very long poles and a tiny little vase on top. JLP trolls Jaden and he's like, "Oh, so you like the necklace now, do ya?"
This
This
was
is what
so
I mean.
fun to watch. I
Yeah,
loved all the voices.
exactly.
Yeah.
But like, if he's going along with it, it's like we're on board. He took it too far with the throwing it because it was girly. Ugh.
Yeah.
Raymond makes a bad poles joke. I can feel my poles. And I just loved hearing JLP say, "That's 12 feet of pole right there." He's just like winking every time.
Yeah, it is, baby. Yeah, it is.
Jaden wins this time. He decides that the necklace is okay. He can wear it. And then if he's like, I'm a fucking challenge beast. I'm a threat. Vote me out.
Yeah, okay.
Like, he
oh my god, maybe
celebrated
we
too
should just
hard,
vote
I
out
thought.
Jaden. Let's just vote out Jaden. Here's a thought. Vibe.
Exactly. Back at Tassie Camp, Eden doesn't care if Jaden's got the necklace because he's going for Raymond anyway. And Mark's excited that the band's getting back together. Eden flags the plans with Karen number one. And she flips. She's like, "What? But they wrote my name down. They wrote my name down."
I loved this because she is queen of going up to other people and telling them what the plan is and how they're voting. And then Eden comes and does this to her, and her first response is like, "What? I wasn't part of this discussion or the plan. How dare you tell me how to vote?" Icon.
Yeah, there's a
She's
bit of
amazing.
hypocrisy. She is an icon. Caroline's like, "Eden, you're about to start World War III." And really, she means she owes Ferris's alliance from last tribal because they saved her ass. So that's really what's going on here, I think.
Literally.
She's like, don't piss them off. And it means she's trying to say, like, I owe them still. I got last vote on tick. So
But she's not wrong. She's not wrong because she knows Mark and Valeria are against her. Okay? She's just acquired 3 new allies. So why would she F off her new 3 allies, the only 3 people she's not pissed off yet, apart from Eden and Kitty, to try and like temporarily build things with people who hate her? Like it really did make no sense for her at all.
Absolutely. Thanks to a revenge-fueled Jaden, Ferris gets wind of the plan and he asks Caroline, this was so HR. I love this. He was very HR. He's like, "I'm going to cross-reference these stories. He's going to invite Caroline into the office first and get her side." And then she doesn't really reveal much. And then he calls BS on that and gets Kitty's side of the story. That's right. You do work in
Kitty
HR.
was shaking. Yes! Kitty was shaking.
Yeah. With Ferris's gorgeous eyes, I would just tell him anything he wanted. Like if he came over to me and was like, "What's going on?" I'd be like, "Oh, they're voting for Raymond."
Oh, I'd be the biggest simp. I would be Raymond. That would be me. It would just be me. Like at that point, I would have a full chest rug as well. Like my body hair situation would be out of control.
Woof.
And I'd just be there like being weird and simping for Ferris.
Hot. Tribal, Ferris's alliance with Kirby sort of figure out that something's up with the OG Titans. And it's come from Eden. So a lot of whispering starts now. Alex and Ferris start whispering. And I love this. They're just last minute. They're just like, fucking, should we get old mate out? And they just start whispering Eden. What did you think of this?
A shit. Well, because it was such a precarious situation for the Titans because they're not aligned. It's a very broken group of people. So they're having to overtly reassure each other at Tribal that they're sticking together. But then the alliances they've built with the Rebels are so new and tenuous that in overtly reassuring each other, they're putting the others offside. This is why it was such a bad move, in my opinion, because it was a temporary one that was of temporary benefit to Eden only. And I mean, I guess to an extent, Mark and Valeria, because they were on the bottom last time. But it was not a good move for Caroline and Kitty. And this is where it does fall apart because there's just no trust there.
Absolutely. So Raymond does get the first few votes and then the Edens start rolling in and it's all over. Red Rover with a tie,
On the
a tie break,
revote.
of course, which is exciting. I thought maybe we were going to get rocks and I was a bit excited, but I don't know. I'm kind of glad that didn't happen.
I thought it was interesting because Eden, and I think Eden talked a bit about this in his exit interview because Eden was the only vote that the Rebels could agree on because he was the only. They all think they have this secret relationship with Mark. Kirby and Rhea are close with Caroline and Kitty. So and they're also close with Valeria. So that Eden was the only person they could all get on the same page about. But Eden was also the only person in that group who people would go to rocks for. Like he is the glue between the two sides of that alliance. So I really did think we could go to rocks. When there was a flip, I thought it was Valeria. I mean, the edit was trying to make us think it was Valeria. And I thought, yeah, why would Valeria go to rocks for Eden? He flipped on Viola. So when it turned out it was just Jaden doing it for the gags.
Yeah. And that's the end of the week of Survivor. Good week, I thought. What are your hopes and predictions for the rest of the season?
So, I mean, look, in the previews, we've seen that Kirby is going to start coming for Ferris. I think that Ferris's alliance is going to come out on top because no one seems to trust Rihanna. She's flaked out on everyone. We're getting so many confessionals of people saying they don't trust Kirby. So I think that Ferris and that are even if they lose a battle, they're going to win the war. And I think that I don't know who it's going to come down to at the end, but I think it's going to be Mark and somebody else. So I don't know who the final two are, but
I think Ferris is too much of a threat to make it to the very end.
No.
I feel like Eileen could make the end because, she's still going to ride through with that group, but then won't be as seen as a threat like Ferris is. So perhaps that's a good thing. You know, you need your shields and stuff. Yeah, I would love to see some people start thinking differently and some like brand new alliances formed. Like I always love that in the final chapter of the game when people start being creative and like just exploring their options. That's like the best Survivor. And with this lot, like they're playing so hard, I feel like that could happen too.
Yeah, that's what's so fun about it, right? Is the fact that it's very much a voting blocks season rather than strict alliances where there are these there's basically 4 pockets of people plus Alex. And it's, what combination are we going to get?
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm excited to see it. Annabel, thank you so much for joining me this week. I've had a blast chatting with you. Where can our listeners find you on the internet?
Thank you so much, Sam. I had the best time. People can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Annabel CE. You can also find me over with Chili Philly from Australian Survivor.
Yes.
Brains vs. Braun. Yeah, King.
Babes on the
We
Brink.
are over at Babes on the Brink, where we are covering the Traitors US.
I'll see you around, babe.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, definitely check out that. I've been listening to Babes on the Brink and I'm loving it. Chuck us follow as well. It's the Cringe is Real pod on Insta and Twitter. And I'll be back again next week with another special guest.